Welcome back to Slacker Gaming. In this episode, I want to go over the February update that just came out about a week ago, what is happening in the update, what changes are going to be made, and how we are going to move forward to get yourself ready for the March update, which I will have another episode about later. The March update looks like there's going to be a ton of stuff in it, so I want to go over this February update, show you what has changed, why maybe you should come back if you're wondering, hey, do I come back and play this game? I'll give you those answers in this episode. So February's update was big in a way that it changed and addressed a bunch of things that we've had some problems with over the last couple of months. So I'm glad they went ahead and fixed those. They also added a couple of things, quality of life updates that really did a good job in the newest update. So I want to go over it, and if you're a person that's kind of like, well, do I really want to come back and play this game? It's been having a lot of troubles. They fixed a lot of bugs, and it's not as, I guess the bugs that maybe are still in it are kind of stupid bugs and not bugs that drastically change the way you're going to play the game. So I felt like they did a good job of addressing those. I'm going to kind of go over some of the ones that I liked or that benefited me or that have kind of completely changed the game. They've added basically the new Umbral system, in OPR and stuff. So I want to go over all of that right now. So we're just going to skim over some of the stuff that I felt like were big issues that they fixed, kind of help you guys understand what they actually did change and what you're going to see. I won't gloss over any of the stuff that's like, oh, this person does this amount of damage instead of this amount. I'm not going to go over that. I'm going to go over kind of the big things. So the biggest one out of the expeditions, I think, is the Tacitus mini boss can be killed and looted twice in a single instance. When I ran through it, I'll be honest with you, I did it. Why not take advantage of it while you could? And basically what you do is you would jump over the wall and then you could kill it. Then we would go through the rest of the sequence. We would open up the gate. He would spawn again. You kill him again. So that's no longer in the game, which kind of sucks, but it probably shouldn't have been in there anyways. It's just amazing that people can figure this stuff out and do it and take advantage of it. Another thing you might not see anymore is the building the camps. Basically what would happen is you could build a camp in floating air, and then you could actually make the camp, and then somebody could jump onto your camp and make their camp a little higher, and basically you could build yourself in places that you're not supposed to be. So they went ahead and fixed that as well. The next thing they did that is kind of a big quality of life, and I'm glad they fixed it. They introduced a new player versus AI physics collision system that has kind of changed like running into something and kind of the way you collide with these different objects. And the reason I'm excited about this is I think that this is a building block for player to player of physics collisions. So a lot of times, and you notice it a lot in OPR, when you're trying to run through the gates and stuff, there'll be a guy with a shield there, and it seems like no matter what you do, you just can't get through. Or if there's a brute there, you just can't get through. And that's what this is kind of fixing, is like the brutes and stuff. As you can say here, the brutes shouldn't be in your way anymore. You should be able to run past them to get into the middle of A, B, or C on OPR. And I'm hoping, again, this is a building block for player versus player physics collision, so that way shields can't just sit there and you can't get through the places you need to get through. So some things that I've noticed and that have kind of been playing a little different role is the expedition AI. So they've added different stuff in Garden of Genesis, Laz, and I think Dynasty. No, they didn't do anything in Dynasty yet. So in Garden of Genesis, the Greenskeeper, they increase the size of the blighted Greenskeeper headshot hit volume with the Genesis Shaman, the Angry Earth Naga, some visibility on attack there. In Laz, they changed a few things as well, and you can read all of these. I'm not going to go over all these because obviously you can read just as well as I can, if not better. So just kind of read over these and see the things they changed. They changed Chartis a lot, actually, kind of a lot more difficult now to beat these bosses in Laz and Jin. I noticed the bosses are a little tougher to beat, but again, it's still something you could do, no problem. It is just a little bit tougher. They also changed some of the mutation stuff as far as the timers and the damage, base health, and stuff for there. Going over to combat, the biggest thing they fixed is the weapon swapping. Now, this does not probably fix it to the complete ability that you want to, but I think it's a stepping stone and it could possibly get even better. What I mean is, like, before you would kind of queue up actions is what they would call it. You would queue up actions. So say you're shooting, you're left clicking, and then, oh, I don't want to shoot anymore. I want to roll. And your guy would not roll. He's continuing to shoot because that's what the actions in his queue were. Now they've kind of made it different where you can actually dodge and do all these different things, swapping weapons and stuff. And the biggest thing to notice is this will not interrupt those actions. And there's a 1 second swap cooldown in these cases. So you can't be switching back and forth. You're going to have a little bit, a 1 second delay of when they switch. But it does do a lot better job of when I stop telling my mouse to left click and stop shooting. If you have like a life staff or whatever, when I tell it to stop shooting, it's done shooting. It doesn't kind of add those extras on top. I've noticed a big difference, especially in OPR, with being able to shoot and then dodge, shoot, and dodge a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently doing that than I was before. Because before it was like click, click, and I'm like, no, I want to do this, but it wouldn't let me because it was still going through the queue and what I queued up. So that's the biggest thing. You can see that weapon swaps and attacks can now be queued simultaneously. So if you're doing something and you press, switch to another thing, and you immediately press that ability, it will first cancel the frame and then immediately perform the desired ability. So that is something, again, that I think might be a little, like, the fact that they're changing this now might allow us to do a little more creative stuff in the future. Dodging and blocking, some things changed in there for the basic attack startups, melee and ranged. So that kind of stuff changed. The jumping changed a little bit. The attributes, the 300 focus attribute bonus, the mana regen from the attribute bonus will now trigger when casted drops to 15 mana or less. And if you're a person that's a big focus like me, I have over 300 focus, so this is something that kind of I wanted to see as a healer. Equipment load stuff has changed, and then I did a whole bunch of bug fixes. Will hopefully make it better in the future, and hopefully we can continue to go. Now going down to different stuff of bow, they fixed a bunch of stuff with the bow, including the rain of arrows. Fire staff, they did fireball, reheat pillar, all this flamethrower, which seems to be the new meta right now. If you've played OPR, a lot of people are running flamethrowers, basically because the new movement is 2 times faster than previous speed, and they changed a bunch of the way it stacks with the flamethrowers. So a bunch of changes there. They've changed some things with the great axe. The gravity well, to me, received a big boost. The Maelstrom received a big boost as well. The hatchet is basically, I don't know, the hatchet didn't really go anywhere for me. There's a few things they changed, but to me, it didn't make that big of difference. Ice Gauntlet, they kind of turned down the ice spikes and the ice storm and the ice shower and all this stuff. They kind of turned down. It was the way they were using it was just way too overpowered. So they had to kind of turn these things down. Life staff, if you're doing stuff with the beacon and stuff, they changed a few things there. Kind of help the life staff out. If you're using a musket, change some sticky bomb things, some shooter stance, stopping power. I feel like they changed quite a bit in the musket, and I think it's going to be more of a meta here coming out further. And they even said in one of their videos that the musket was the least used thing, and not a lot of people are using it. So I think they want people to use it, and so now they're kind of making the musket a little bit better. And hopefully this is kind of setting up for what the blunderbuss, which is coming out in March, they say, will do for us moving forward. The rapier stuff, basically what they did is the cooldowns and stuff on this are a little different, so that you can't use it as much and as quickly. The spear stuff got some upgrades there as well. Sword and shield, some different things with like the reverse stab, the leaping strike, some of that stuff got changed as well. The Void Gauntlet, the Mending Invasion, where they said it wasn't working right. Now they've kind of fixed that. The Warhammer received some stuff, and then the perks themselves. If you have these perks, make sure you read more about it. If you got chain perks, if you got Skirking Energy, Keenly, Jagged is a big one that they kind of redid because they apparently they had the incorrect bleeding duration. They fixed that now as well. Life Staff of the Sage, all this Fire Staff stuff had perks for opposite weapon on them. They fixed that. Now we got to the War and Invasion, and they changed a little bit on this. I don't notice a huge difference while playing. It is nice that you can view the scoreboard while respawning, kind of figure out how it's going, how everything's going with you during the match. Outpost Rush, they fixed a ton of bugs here, which a ton of them were actually kind of a big issue. And so they went through and they kind of fixed these, and hopefully this will kind of help Outpost Rush. Not to mention, you'll see here in a second, they made Outpost Rush a little more worthwhile. So the biggest thing is they reworked the Outpost Rush scoring and rewards. As you know before, if you played Outpost Rush, healers got a ton of points, whereas if you're kind of a brute, or if you're kind of Sword and Shield, or even a little bit, like if you're a tankier person, if you do more tanking than killing, then it was tough to get your 500 points, which is ridiculous. I mean, you're doing your job to the best of your ability. You need to get more points for it. And that's exactly what they did. The dealing damage now increases the player's score. They reduce the amount of points granted from killing players, reduce the amount of points granted from killing AI. These kind of help a little bit. And then the damage itself. So if you're a high damage person, then you're doing a good job. You're finally getting those points you need. There's some other things that were done in here, and another big thing was Baroness now is from 3 minutes to 2.5 minutes, which I actually thought was a really good thing. And I've noticed a lot in games now that games seem to be closer in this, because you're not stuck. Because like if you lose 2 Barons before, you're done. Your team is done. There's no way you're coming back. Now you can lose 2 and still have a close game. So I'm glad they fixed that. I thought it was a much needed thing added. I felt like Baron was just kind of overpowered as far as how everything goes with Baron, and then freezing the score for 3 minutes when it's only like what, a 30-minute game or something, or 40-minute game. So I'm glad they changed that. Outpost Rush now, the biggest things is the rewards that you can get. So the biggest thing that they added is the Outpost Rush now rewards Umbral Shards and completion of the match. 100 shards for the winning team, 50 for the losing team, but you must meet the minimum score threshold to be eligible for these rewards. So you must be, I think it's 500 or 550 points, I don't know what it is. You have to get more than that to be eligible. If your team wins, you get 100 Umbral Shards. If your team loses, you get 50. Outpost Rush also rewards faction tokens on completion of the match. Again, you have to meet the minimum score threshold to get these, but you get a ton of tokens. I'm not sure if they outlined it here, but I think you get almost 1,000 faction tokens for completing a match. I know if you win, it's like 1,125. I think if you lose, it's like 900 or something. But you get a ton of faction tokens, which is good because there's a ton of new things that you can buy in the faction vendor. The next thing they did is the Outpost Rush caches now reward 2 pieces of Outpost Rush specific armor and the Outpost Rush specific weapon. And then there's a 15% of a 4th additional piece of Outpost Rush jewelry. And then there's 2.5% chance that the rolled Outpost Rush is a named item. And basically what is happening is you're getting more and more upgrades if you're not already at that 600 mark. So an Outpost Rush now, there's a lot more upgrades to your weapons. You can raise your expertise a lot faster, quickly by doing Outpost Rush. Some other things they changed as well, but those were like the biggest thing that I thought would be. But like I said, significant increase in likelihood that the rewards in the Outpost Rush cache will increase the player's expertise. again, until you get to 16 or 600. Once you're at 600, you won't be getting any more upgrades from that. Then they did some additional fixes on some quests. They talked about the economy, progression, and rewards. So the leveling for Arcana, Armoring, Engineering, Furnishing, Jewel Crafting, Weaponsmithing, trade skills will now require 10% less XP. So if you watched some of my videos earlier about how me breaking them down to exactly how much green wood you're going to need to do all of this, those things are going to change a little bit. I'm not sure if I'll completely make a new video for this update, but it could possibly come out. Who knows? If you guys are needing it, let me know. I can link the video down below and you could see kind of what was changed or whatever, and we can kind of go over what it is now. Again, the rewards, preventing the tier 5 muskets from dropping, some different things here. Then crafting has changed a little bit. Sometimes different things were displayed incorrectly. Reduce effectiveness of fishing bots. They didn't really say exactly what they changed there, which I get, because if they say exactly what they changed, then the fishing bots can just change their algorithm and basically keep going. Next thing are the notable bug fixes. You can read these if you want. There's not anything like completely crazy in this, but there is some things that are in here that you might need to read and might see that going forward. Now there is a trade chat channel, which I noticed is used quite a bit, because a lot of times you would say, hey, I want to sell this, I want to do this, I want to buy this. Now there's a trade option where you can just see what people want to do, what people want to sell, what they want to trade. Any of that stuff now you can put in a trade chat channel. There's a couple other things done here as well. Then we go to notable fixes, some just additional fixes. Just kind of like, I wouldn't even say one-off things, but stuff that's kind of issues that I'm glad they fixed and they needed to fix. But now that that's fixed, we should be good to go. And then they went and talked about PTR notes that they're going to be doing in the PTR as far as feedback. So if you're doing PTR feedback, kind of check those out. Make sure you're doing things the way they want them. That way your stuff gets pushed to the top. Yellow topaz no longer has a minimum drop time, so the topaz that you can get in the end for cast and stuff, there's no minimum drop time. They just drop whenever. Black gypsum minimum drop time has been reduced from 10 minutes to 5 minutes. Purple gypsum has been reduced from 2 minutes to 30 seconds. And then the gypsum orb to the faction vendor, which can be bought once per day for 7,000 faction points, or 7,000 faction tokens, which basically says if you need 7,000 faction tokens, play OPR, you're going to get about 1,000 per OPR. The next thing they added was aptitude leveling. The biggest thing is they finally added smelting crafting gear. There hasn't been any smelting gear whatsoever in the game so far, but right now you can get them from drops from the tier 3 aptitude boxes. I opened actually a bunch and I didn't get anything from it, but they're dropping a lot. Their dropping percentage is low, which is good right now because you don't want to over stimulate the economy, I guess, with all of these the smelter crafting clothes. But they are in the game now. You can get them. And then the drop of Viscous Azoth now drop from armor aptitude boxes, which it is what it is. If you need them, that's where you get them. Some general fixes. They did some icon stuff. They did some action menu things, some screen tips, stuff like that. Open world stuff. Again, you can read all these if you want. A lot of them have been like increase the umbral gained from cast from 3 to 200 to 1 to 400. So now you're going to be getting a lot more umbral from your cast, and that's the video I showed a couple days ago. Before you were getting like 3 at level 600, you would get 3 umbral shards. Now you're getting 100. If you're at 625, you're getting 200. Now you're getting 400. So you're getting a lot more umbral shards from your casts, which is good if you're in that in-game content. Same thing with the umbral gained from crafting. So before, if you crafted a level 600 gear, you would get 1 to 85. Now you can get 25 to 100 for that. And then there's a few other things. If you soak, all that good stuff. The fire staves, life staves to roll with incorrect attribute perks and mutated expeditions, which for me was a big problem. If you're a life staff or a fire staff person, that sucks. They reduced the timer of the powerful gem dust on mutated orbs from 10 to 5. So it's going to cost you half the ability for your mutator orbs on that. And then the mutator orbs can be purchased from the faction store every 3 days rather than every 7 days. So they drop down that as well. So you can make sure that you're taking full advantage of the mutator orbs from the faction store. Another quick thing they switched in the world, the outpost rush, northern spawn, allowing enemy players to access the spawn. They fixed that. I didn't really notice that a lot, but it was, I guess, a problem that they needed to fix. Quest, level 60 quest, now reward gypsum orbs, which is amazing, and they increased the reward experience for side quests from levels 10 to 60 by 50%, so it should you should be getting 50% more expertise from those side quests. The big thing around traveling is they basically wiped out how you use Azoth. So before, it would be, okay, I have this amount of Azoth, I want to travel here, my bag is this full. It was based on weight, it was based on how far you're going, and now they've taken that completely out. There's no cost adjustments for distance or weight, and now going from towns to shrines will be a base cost of 20 Azoth. You also, the default recall time on an inn is reduced from an hour to 30 minutes, and the reduced cost of resetting fast travel for your houses is from 50 to 20. So and I love it. The best thing they added in the game, you can travel around, you can do everything you need to do, you can move things. I mean, it's just great. It's no longer like, well, I have to stay in this town because this is where all my stuff is. Oh, the forge got downgraded, now I can't create this stuff. Now where do I take all my stuff? Now you can just pack it up, take it to a place that has a tier 5 forge, and keep playing the game without it like basically ruining your experience. Because before, if you took all of that stuff and like say you needed to make 3 trips, you'd burn through all your Azoth in about 2 or 3 trips. Now it costs you 60 Azoth. So a great thing they added into the game there. Some of the expectation, some of the stuff they added for the expedition mutations, AI stuff, combat stuff, the Void Gauntlet. They talk about the where's the Orbit Decay? Yeah, Orbit Decay here. They reduced some of the damage from it. The detonation damage was reduced from 100 to 70% there, and then the Petrified Scream is now 25 seconds longer than it was, or now it was 25 seconds. It was 15. Now it's 25. They changed some things on the rapier. They increased cooldown from 12 to 18 seconds on the repost. The evade is now double the time, because basically what it was is you would just evade out of any problem you had. They changed that to 12 seconds, which I thought was good. Changed some things on the Great Axe. I said earlier, the gravity well, it seems to be better now. It seems to grab and hold them longer. It seems to go a further distance on the gravity well. Increase slow from 55 to 60%. And then stuff that they changed on the server, trading and spinning gold now requires players to physically near each other. If players are in valid location, they will instead receive an error message telling you. And then they fix several bugs of transfer or characters transferring. So that is what they fixed in this. It's currently recording this video. It is March 6th, so this is a little over a week old. I wanted to kind of see what changes were made and how they actually benefited people or how they kind of ruined the game. And so I hope I did a good job of going through the important things that I felt like did a really good job of fixing the game that we have now. I think the game's honestly in one of the best places it's been since release. I feel like a lot of the major bugs they fixed with this February update, a lot of people mad that there's not a lot of new content, but there kind of is, as far as they added some new things to help you get to in-game content. And it's looking like March is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to do a video in on the PTR about some of the new stuff they're going to be adding into the March update. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that was on this video, or if you have any questions in general about New World, just comment them down below. I will be glad to answer them. Till next time, Slacker out.